Good morning. Today we are going to discuss about digital preservation of library documents, and this is very important topics. And the document is doesn't mean that document should be in the library. It can be in the document in the museum. It can be document in the government office or any rare document wherever it is available, that we can digitize it and then we can preserve it. So, I will be talking about how to digitization of the rare document, all the library document, and then what is the process for digitization, and then how we can preserve. So, preservation is digitization and preservation is one part. The most important part is that how do we provide the service of the digitized content to the users. So, all this aspect will be covered during this presentation, and after this 1 hour presentation, I will be showing you how to digitize in the live demonstration, that after this session, theoretical session, I will show you the live demonstration of the digitization process, preservation process of the library document. So, let us start about digitization, digital preservation of library document, how it is. So, what are the points that I will cover during this presentation? First is what is digitization, and then the project plan. Every work we must have a project mode, we have to definite target. So, we have to make it as a project, and what is the planning for that, that I will discuss. And then digitization process, selection of document, what are the document that we will digitize it, and most important part of the digital library is the searching. So, unless and until the digitized content will not be able to searchable, that it does not mean people will not be able to search the digitized content. So, for searching we have to create the metadata of the digitized content. That is the most important part for any digital library. You just scan it and then you just store in the computer, it does not make any sense, you just preserve it, but you cannot provide a best service to the user. So, digital library is beauty is the search. Whenever you put your keyword, title, author or subject name, it should display it, it should retrieve on your monitor, and then accordingly you can study. So, for searchable purpose, you have to create a metadata, and that is important, that I will discuss about it. Dissemination, promotion and reuse, and then long term preservation of digital collection, and other item is that digitization collection development at Central Library IIT Kharagpur. What we are doing, actually I am from at Central Library IIT Kharagpur, I am the librarian, chief librarian of this institute, and we have the oldest, this Central Library is one of the biggest library in Asia, and we have a well equipped digital library. And as you know that the Central Library of IIT Kharagpur is developed the National Digital Library project, and that is well used by all the users. You can also access, I will tell you something about National Digital Library, so that you can use and how you can relate today's topic and National Digital Library. So, these are the topic I will be covering during this presentation. Then you must know what is, I know everybody know what is digitization. So, digitization is a process of converting information into digital format, okay, and that should be readable in the computer. This is the main object. Suppose you have a this is the paper and so many thing is written. So, suppose this is the content, it is a print form. So, it is a single user access, it is not a multi user access. When you digitize it, when you create a metadata and then you upload in your software, then it will be searchable and it will be accessible. So, for this you have to scan it, you have to edit it, you have to change the format. So, all these things that you have to do, I will show you. So, this is the actually digitization. Book scanning or book digitization is the process of converting physical books into digital media such as image, electronic text, electronic books like e-books by using an image scanner. Then common file format are portable document format, that is PDF, everybody knows, and also a TIFF file. So, after scanning it will be in the image form. So, from image you have to convert in TIFF form as well as PDF form. And then most important things that most of our library colleagues know, that when you scan it, it is not searchable. So, you have to OCR it, so make it in textable format so that it can search. So, OCR also searchable scan text. So, digitization project planning, what is the vision of the project? So, that you have to think what you are going to do it, what are the goal and objective, who will use it, how will they use it, and who should be involved in this process, and then what do you want to digitize, what are the content that you want to digitize it, and why, what is the purpose for this. Are there any copyright issue and regarding the materials? Should the digitization be accomplished in-house or external vendors, external service provider who can digitize, who can make everything for you, for which you have to pay to the vendors or company. So, these are the things that you have to think first, you have to decide first. These are the very vital point that I have told you. So, you have to make a checklist and then you go for the digitization. What are the documents that you digitize and for which purpose you are doing. So, all these things that you have to do it. So, this is the do you have the space, money and equipment and expertise, what can be the external vendor provide you. What is the final format of the project, do you have the means to achieve it. Is it social networking component envisaged such as crowdsourcing, transcription or metadata enhancement. How will you incorporate quality management into all stages of the project. So, these are the points that I have highlighted for you. So, that when you are going to do the digitization process for your library document, you have to think all these points and you can go ahead. So, other issue is the copyright issue, that is very sensible and very important issue, because all the things that you cannot digitize, because most of the things are copyrighted documents. So, you cannot digitize unless and until you have a permission from the author or the publisher. So, these are the things very important, I will discuss in details. So, digitization, dissemination and reuse of the collection, intellectual property, private issues, identify the document which are and which are not in the public domain, need agreement or copyright materials, copyright issue, it's vary from one country to another country. What are the copyright law for India, it not similar for western countries or other countries. So, it is vary from country to country. So, what we have in the copyright law, that we have to maintain it. So, now in the process, digitization process is very well described here. First, you have to select it, inspection and preparation, choose the equipment, which are the equipment you require, what is the volume of content that you are going to digitize, that you have to think about it. Then quality checking, text or image enhancement, convert machine readable format, and then copy the preservation in a storage device. So, these are the circle that you have to follow it. Selection of document, available existing content, what are the content that you have in your library. It may be a manuscript, it may be books, it may be a report, it may be question paper, thesis, it may be old newspaper, it may be very old office order, even photographs. So, lot of things that you, even if you have a microfilm, that also you can convert it, you can digitize it, and it can searchable, and you can, it can be accessed multiple users. So, that is also possible. And there are also things are there, that the digitization on demand, you have not yet digitized, but as and when there is a requirement that somebody is want that they want some document which are available in print form in your library, and you are not able to provide in digital form, because it is not scanned, it is not curated metadata and everything. So, that this is the type of one service that you can establish in your library, digitization on demand. So, this is the one things. Then chronology, geography, format. So, all these things are part of the selection. Then inspection of the document, these are the point I have shown in the earlier slide, the selection process. So, inspection of the document. Now, size, there are many different type of sizes are available in the library. Some of the atlas are big size, some of the books are big size, maybe A2 size, A3 size, maybe A4 size. So, different size of papers contents are there, small pamphlets, photographs, plum leaf. So, this size are not equal, it vary from one document to another document. So, that you have to inspect. And then quality, how old these documents, the documents is fragile form or it is a good form, it is a thick volume. If the book is very thick, then you have to rewind, means open it. If the book is binding, you have to open it, you have to scan and then again rewind it. So, all these things that you have to inspect first, and then you have to make a list or checklist. So, these are the documents that you are going to digitize and select it. Then preparation of document, arrangement, cleaning and dust, that is very important. You have to arrange the selected content from the rack or from the library. So, these are the documents that you are going to digitize. So, you have to keep aside, and then those documents you have to clean it, you have to dusting it, so that your scanner will not damage. So, these are the things that you can do it. Now, I have showing some of the different type of scanner, because most of the library they do not have the sufficient budget for buying the high end scanner. So, even they have a small scanner, they can start for digitization work. So, all libraries are not a big library, they have lot of resources, but there are small library, there are medium library, they do not have much budget, they do not have much infrastructure. So, they can have a minimum infrastructure and they can start the digitization project. So, these are the flatbed as book scanner, this is overhead book scanner, auto book scanner, and this is the overhead book scanner is a high end scanner, and then auto book scanner is also a high end scanner. This is a ADF scanner, instantly is a loose paper is there. So, you just keep just like the fax, when earlier days when receiving a fax, we have to keep the paper, loose paper, and when the fax come, it will print and then you can read it. So, like this you have a question paper like this A4 size, all the loose paper you just keep it and automatically you will scan it. So, this is the one scanner, and there are AO format scanner, there are a lot of drawings, big papers are there. So, those things you have to do digitize, then this scanner is required. And this is the microfilm, microfiche. If you have a old microfilm and microfiche in your library, and your microfilm reader is not working, it is not readable. So, you have to convert it into digital format and you can provide it. For this you need this scanner. There are different type of others equipments for digitization, negatives and slide scanners, object scanners, scanner different types, bio and gene scanner, X-ray negative scanner, and digital camera also help to digitize the small content. Now, most important thing that what we have in IIT Kharagpur, we have three high-end scanner. These are all face-up scanner. You have to keep your book in this type of things. You have to keep book like this, not it should not like this. You have to fold it and then you have to scan it. It just keep it open and it will automatically scan it. So, this is the one scanner, is very useful scanner that we have. This is another most important things. After the digitization, digital curation process start. So, you have digitized, everything is done. So, you have to curate the digitized content. So, what are the checklist? First you digitize it, the document file selections, file unbinding the scanner, and then document scanning, image document process, OCR document processing, document tagging, and then finally finally that you have completed your this digital curation process. Now, this is one thing that you can follow when you are going to digitize your content. This is called flow chart, and this is very useful and this is very important for you, that collection of rare book that you have already collected, and then you check whether it is already digitized or not. If it is not, then you have to follow this flow chart. Flow chart means pre-scan activity on unbinding the books and then scanning the document, and then you check whether the scanning quality is okay or not. If it is okay, then you have to create the metadata of the digitized content. Metadata means the document about the document, description of the content that you have to create, and then after that you have to check everything. If everything is all right, then you upload this content to the institution digital repository or any digital library software where you can upload, and then you can retrieve the information from the IDR. This is the objective of this digitization process, and then you can rewind it. If the book is thick, you open it, scan it and rewind it, and then finally you return the document to the bookshelf or book rack, and wherever the book's place is there, it will go that place. Now, this is one idea, that these very simple things that I want to share with you. Conversion of print to digital and digital to print, very interesting. You see, you just take example as a paper. This is one paper. So, this is called paper, and when you write something or you can print something, it will be a document. So, this document you can convert to digital form, and after digitization you also convert into print form. So, this diagram I want to show you that paper, then you have to scan it, you need a book scanner plus PC, and then after scanning everything you can keep it in the CD or external hard disk or pen drive or your computer server. And then CD can also from the CD you can also take a printout, if it is A4 size or A3 size. And then if it is a digital form, the microfilm camera you require, or you need a processor, and then the it will be microfilm. The microfilm reader is also the is required to read the microfilm reader, and then microfilm scanner and PC, and then CD writer if you have, then this content, the microfilm content also can convert it into CD. So, that in the later stage that your microfilm reader is not working or microfilm printer is not working, so that these all microfilm or microfiche contents, small content can be stored in the CD form, and from the CD you also take printout. Okay. So, it is two way. One way you can convert print to digital form, and also from digital to print form. So, this is the simple diagram in which you can understand how do you can convert from print to digital form and digital to print form. I want to show you one thing. This is I think I hope this PPT slide will be available to you. So, you can later you can go through it each and every slide and you can understand better, because time is very short. I have to finish this talk within an hour. So, I cannot explain everything, but this is one diagram is called fishbone diagram. Okay. And what is the target? Target is that we have to digitize our content. You have to go to this place, this area. So, you have to achieve all these points that you have to achieve, and ultimately you have to reach this destination, so that your digitization process is complete. In this diagram, I want to explain everything, what is the procedure, what you have to do, and then how you can digitize your all library contents or selected contents, so that it will be easy to understand all the people who are involved for digitization project in your library. So, this is well explained. You can read it, you can go through it each and every points, so that it will be clear. So, digitization project at central level, I want to highlight some of the points that what we are doing. This is very important and this is very useful for you when you are going to do your digitization project in your library. So, it will be example for you. One day our library was very small and gradually it increased, and lot of things we have acquired, and now we have lot of equipment, lot of manpower, lot of resources. It is very simple, because one day cannot be a rich man. Okay. So, first you have to work a small library, you learn, and then after learning you have to shift your job to some other library where you have to give the contribution, you have to learn something, and gradually you achieve, and then you will be available, you will be able to be a master to digitize your content, develop your library, and then provide the best service to the user of your library. So, it is a gradual process, it is not a jumping process, everything is a system. So, that you have to adopt it, and gradually you will reach your destination. So, you learn everything carefully. So, that is why I want to show some of the things that we are doing here in our library. Document selection, inspection, that as I told already that what are the process for digitization. So, this is the thing that we are doing in our library, and then after selection choose the equipment digitization with the appropriate settings, all these things, and then picture and text enhancements, and this machine readable format. So, this is the process that we are following for digitization work in our library. This is one scanner, as I already shown in earlier slide, the overhead book scanner at Central Library. We have 3 scanner, I will show you. This is one scanner, it is very old scanner, PS Minolta 7000 top scanner. You have to keep book like this open, and this the scanner will scan it automatically. And this is a very rare book that we are we have digitized it. I want to show you, this is a very rare book. Some of the letter are not readable. So, sometimes we have to type it, we have to enter the words. So, all these things that we are doing. So, after digitization and everything, what is the objective? Objective is that you have to store, you have to preserve it for future use. Unless and until you have to store in the multiple medium, it will be very difficult to retrieve the information. Suppose you have, after digitization, you keep only the CD form, and CD is not readable sometime, and the machine where you have you are using that CD, CD-ROM drive is not working, and it is not compatible with the machine. So, you have to keep the digitized content in different form. So, this is the one medium in the CD form, in the CD that we are storing the digitized content, and you have to do one thing, that is most important thing, you have to identify what you have digitized. Actually library, what is library? Library is a collection of document and then retrieval of the document. Whatever collection that you have to organize such a manner, so that it will be very useful and very easy to the user to retrieve the content from the universe of knowledge. This is the beauty of the library. We have a million of books in the library, and within a minute the user can find out his or her required book. How? Because we organize the content such a way, so that user will be able to find the information from the from a very shortest possible time, because we have adopted a technology by which user will be able to find out information from the universe of knowledge in any libraries. So, like this, when you have a 1000 of CD digitized content, you have digitized and then you have preserved the content in the CD, and then you have to, one day your director come, your faculty come, your user come in your library and he wants some CD, his thesis. Suppose you digitize your thesis in your library, all the printed thesis that you digitize and you keep on the CD. But the important part, how do you find out the digitized content from 1000 CD-ROM? So, therefore, what we are doing, we have made a label, and each and every level it is written who is the scholar of for this thesis, who is the, what is the department, what is the accession number of the thesis, what is the subject and which year the scholar got the PhD degree. So, all this information it is written each and every CD. So, even if you make a list, from the list it is very difficult to find out. So, if you have the label each and every on the each and every CD, so it will be very useful to find out CD-ROM from a number of CD. So, this is the one way that we are doing it, and this is the storing place where we keep all the digitized CDs, and its label is there, its accession number is there, everything is there. So, that it will be very useful by the user to find out the location of the digitized content. So, he can take out and he can use it, and he can get his information very small time. And this is one important point that I want to share you, that whenever you digitize your content and after digitization, when you provide the service in online mode, then you have to keep this digitized content into your server, and that server will access by the users. So, suppose the server is not working, then what will happen? Your every content will gone. So, therefore, you must have a mirror server. You have to mirror server, so that whatever content you have a server 1, the same content will be available in the server 2, even server 3 or server 4. So, that if one server is gone down, then other server will automatically up, so that user will not get any disturbance for accessing the resources. Now, everything you have done, you have digitized, selection, everything you have done. Now, you have to provide the online service. Digital library means what? Digital library means that you have to digitize it and then you have to provide online service. So, it had two objectives. One is digital preservation, means whatever digitized content you have whatever content you have digitized, that will be keep for long term use as a preservation in the CD form or external hard disks or in the IDR. So, this is called preservation for long term use. And second important part is online access. For providing access, you have to have a software called digital library software, and that software will be installed in a server, and that server will be accessible by the user. So, that user will be able to get your digitized content through online. So, therefore, you have to set up a IDR. So, this is the idea that we have we are uploading our content, our user are accessing our server and they are getting the contents. This is very simple. So, we have also one class that Mr. Samrat Guho will take, that how to install and configure a digital library software, and that software you have to, after the digitization of the print content to digital form, and then you have to upload into the institutional digital repository. So, you have to have some knowledge to set up the idea. So, my colleague Mr. Samrat Guho Roy, he in the next class he will explain and he will give a step. He is very expert, he has a lot of expertise in this area. So, he will explain how to set up, install, configure, and then how to create a community, how to upload it, and then what is the backup, what is the restoration, all these things he will explain. So, that after digitization, if you want to able to set up your idea, you will master. I am sure that you will achieve a very good things, that you can provide the best service in your library after digitization and then uploading the digitized content into the institution repository. So, that all the content will be available in the digital format as well as it will be available for online access. Now, important thing is that format of file. So, after digitization, as you know that it will save as a image file. So, image is not searchable. So, what is the fun for this digital library? So, we the library science people, that we are providing the information, and the retrieval is the most important. When the information is not retrievable, then what is the library? So, whatever document you digitize, so first it will be stored as an image file. So, image is not searchable. So, it will convert into TIFF file, and TIFF is a very important file from where you can convert in any file as you want. So, it will be basically JPEG file. So, from the TIFF file you have to OCR it, and then it will be textable format, and that can be saved as a PDF file, and then PDF file will be searchable. So, this is a simple thing, that formatting system of the digitized content. Metadata, as I told you, that metadata is very important, because unless and until the digitized content is not searchable, what is fun for doing and investing lot of manpower, lot of money, what is fun for this? If my information is not searchable and accessible by others, accessible remotely by the user, then what is the fun for doing this, all this point. So, metadata is very important for any digital library. So, I will show you some of the things. As you know, this metadata, there are many standard in the library science, many standard. There must be one or two standard, but there are many standard. One doubling code, NDLI, MATES, LRMI, MOODS, LOM. So, there are many standard, but we have to select our standard as per our requirement. So, I will share our experience. So, this is the doubling code, this is the NDLI metadata, this is Shodhganga. Shodhganga is by implement in NDL by Central Library IIT Kharagpur. Doubling code is a well standard for description of the digital content, and this is the LRMI. This is for learning resource metadata initiative. This is also very important, because there are a lot of things are there which are not available in the doubling code. So, that the user will not satisfy if you use only doubling code. So, therefore, you have to mix it, so that each and every requirement will be available in one standard, so that it will be useful by the user. There are many more, MATES, MOODS, LOM, mark record, mix. So, these are the various standards are available, and I have given this little bit explanation. So, later on you can read this slide. Now, metadata standard for digital preservation. There are some standard like NDLI metadata format, EGM, e-government metadata standard, then ISO 19115 2014, the geographic information metadata, then data directory for metadata preservation and doubling code metadata. Now, I want to share our experience that what IIT Kharagpur is doing. That as you know that the Central Library IIT Kharagpur developed the National Library with the help of the computer science professors and other expertise in the IIT Kharagpur various department, and we together develop a National Digital Library of India, where most of the contents are described for searching purpose. So, we have to design our metadata standard to take various standard. We have taken the information from various standard like doubling code, we have taken the information for LRMI, we have taken some part from the Shodh Ganga, and then we have designed our own metadata, so that each and every content can be easily described and upload the content in the IDFs. Now, second, another important part, preservation of digitized content. The basic principle of preservation that are being practiced for preservation of analog media are also applicable to preservation in the digital world. So, there are many aspects in digitization and then preservation and access, and this is the preservation. You have to think about the longevity, selection, quality, integrity and access. These are the 5 points that you have to consider for digital preservation. And purpose for digital preservation, one is institution digital repository, learning management system, e-learning, e-publishing, backup and digital archive. So, these are the 6 points that I have explained to you, that these are the process of digital preservation. The many various way. The publisher are publishing book. Suppose nowadays the publisher are publishing lot of e-books. Even many publisher they have converted all the books. Suppose a journal published from 1800 something. So, a single publisher, they have published their content in 1900 or 1850. So, they have digitized their all back volume, and they have curated their digitization content. They have created the metadata of the digitized content. They have designed their digital library software, and they upload all the digitized back volume journal, and they are marketing and they are selling to the each and every libraries to subscribe or the purchase all the back volume that they have published over the year. So, publisher is also digitize their content, and there are many institutions, they are also digitize their content for 2 purposes. One is digital preservation and one is digital preservation, and one is provide online access. So, these are the 6 points that I have explained you. This is very important, keep in your mind. Preservation, physical storage that is you have a bookshelf, racks, all these things that you can store it, and then web server also you can store it. Long term preservation, in-house, multiple copies in geographical displays, migration of the collection. So, Suppose the long term preservation, you have to keep your digitized content in different format in different locations. Suppose all the content that you have digitized and keep in a digital library in one place, suppose there is a fire and heavy damage of the digital library. So, all the content will gone. So, my suggestion is that what we are doing, that we are keeping the digitized content in three places in our library. So, that if something is happened in the digital library, so our document will remain safe, because we have kept our document digitized content in some other places. So, that if something is happened in the digital library, we can really not lose the content. We already have in different places from where we can take and then we can use it. So, this is the things that I want to explain it. And migration is also important. Today you have keeping the content in the CD-ROM, and after 10 years or 15 years the CD-ROM will not be used. Suppose you take an example in the floppy disks. Those days in 1990 we have a like this much in square form, that is a floppy, and then that gone, then it's come a small floppy, and then now those floppy has also gone, and even there is no machine to read those floppy. If you have a floppy, you cannot retrieve it, because those machines are not available, those compatible machines are not, because nowadays PCs we have a lot of Pentium 4, that Pentium 4 such facility is not there. So, time to time you have to convert it, you have to migrate your medium, whatever content you have kept in your CD or hard disks, that you have to time you have to migrate your content in the modern current form. So, that it will not obsolete, it will be able to access in long term. Preservation media, portable media like CD, DVD, DAT, tape drive, zip and jack drive, etc. And non-portable media like PC, hard disk, hard drive, network server, like this you can preserve the content. And also repository software, where you can also preserve your content. There are many software available in the open source. You can select the best one. How do you select? That you have to evaluate all the software, which are the institutes are using which software. Based on that you can select the software and you can use, like DSpace, ePrint, Fedora, Greenstone. There are many open source software are available. So, you can select one, you have to install, configure, and you can store your digitized content in the repository software. So, that it will be useful and it will be accessible, it will be also preserve your content. Now, the last part is retrieval. So, everything is done, you have digitized, store, preserve, everything you have completed. Now, you have to provide service to the user. What is the purpose? That purpose is to provide service to the users. So, how do you provide service? So, there are many ways. Retrieval, one is metadata harvesting, import and export. Okay. You can give, you can take. I will show you what is harvesting. Then catalog and link to the file, that also you can provide. Retrieve access through online, you can design a website and you provide a link, so that link the user will click the link and they will be able to access the content. Then public access through online. Next is dissemination, promotion and reuse. Dissemination and direct access or on demand. You can provide access continuously to the user, or you can provide access when there is a requirement. Suppose somebody want to access the content which are available, bibliographical informations are available on the website of the particular library, and after seeing the content, then the user need the full text of the content. So, he will send you a email request that, sir, I want this information for my research study, research and education and development purpose. So, can I get it? So, you can send the full text of the digitized content. So, there are two ways, one is direct access, one is on demand access. Library website and blog, social networking, that you can do it for promotion. Whatever digitized content that you have to market it. You have to market it because everybody should know, all the community of your library, or all the user of your library, or all the user of your other library. So, or your your community, your Facebook group, your library friends, your library users. So, or if you want to promote your digitized content, then you have to design your website, you have to create your blog, you have to create your Facebook, so that you can promote your content. And reuse, reuse means research project, case study, information and data analysis, that you can do it. Now, as I told you that metadata harvesting for all server to one central server for indexing and providing single window access. What is metadata? Metadata is that the description of the content. Whatever content that you have digitized, that you have to describe it, and once it is described, then you have to upload those content into your server, so that it will be searchable. So, metadata means this. Now each and every institutions, they have their library server, and that is called institution digital repository, and each and every library repository, they have the digital content, and each and every content is described, means they have created metadata, they have created the metadata, and it is searchable. Now, you want to collect all the content from various library to one server, okay, so that it will be indexed. All the after collection of all the content from all the server into a single server, then it will index it, and then the user will access the central server, and they can give a search, they can give their any keyword search, so that if the information is available, it will display and it will tell this content is available in which library. So that you can send the request that library and you will get the content. So, this is very important issue. What digital library, National Digital Library of India, what they have done it? They have done exactly that, and this is the idea that we have given, so that whatever content available in India, all the library, all the institutions, maybe government, maybe university, maybe institutions, any organization. So, wherever the idea is there, institution repository is there, and we have to harvest the content from all the institution repositories. So, that you can imagine how much document will be available. It is a huge document. So, after that it will be indexed centrally, so that user will get the current information. So, I will show you one. This is the actually this is the funda. This is the one diagram I want to show you. This is called server, central server, and I have given example like IIT Delhi, IIT Kharagpur, IIT Guwahati, and all the universities in India, and then IIT Madras, Roorkee, IIT Kanpur, IIT Bombay, and all the universities. So, you can think how many institutions will be there. There are huge universities, and each and university they have a library and each and every library, if they will have the institution repository, and they have a digital library program, digitization program, and if they digitize their old content, rare content, thesis, question paper, their rare book, and they upload it, they create a metadata, they have curated metadata and upload in their own server. Okay, like this, each and every institution library, they have developed their idea, they upload the content, and that single server, that is called central server, and this server will harvest content from each and every institution repository, it will go like this, it will go like this, and when it will come, it will index automatically. It is indexed automatically, and now what user will do? What is the user will do it? User will access the central server, and from there he will give the search. So, when they will give a search, and then the information will display, and it will display the information about the content, the title, author, volume, year, okay, all this metadata information will display first, and also location of the content, where the content is, which library content is available. So, I after searching my required information, which is display on the monitor, then I have find that this is the information I require, which is available in IIT Bombay. So, what I will do? I will send a request to IIT Bombay that this is the document I want, and I have seen through this search, it is available in your library, kindly provide us, so that my research work can be completed. So, like this, actually it is a resource sharing purpose. So, all the library can share their resources to all the users. So, this is very useful, diagram. You can understand clearly what is the metadata harvesting and how this National Digital Library is developed. This National Digital Library is developed this Panda. This is the one thing that we have done. We have harvesting content from all the ideas from all parts of the India, and then we are also helping them to set up the idea. If some library is not able to do it, we are providing expertise to them. Sometimes we are providing the space to those library. If they have a problem for buying the computer and they have a monetary problem, so we are providing space, we are providing expertise to set up the idea. Only thing that they have scanned their content, they have created their metadata, and they have to upload the content into the idea. Once they upload in their idea, then we will harvest it, and then it will be available, it will be searchable for all. That is means local to global. You have a local content. Suppose the IIT Kharagpur is located in a village, the content is in local, but how do you make it in a global access? So, this is the way you can provide a global access. So, National Digital Library project that we are doing is basically harvesting content from various ideas, and then we are indexing on central server, and then we are providing access. Also the National Digital Library also purchasing content as a national licensing policy. There are many content that we have purchased from the publisher, and it will be accessible to all the citizen of India through this this site is available. You can give a search from where you will get the information. So, what I am basically want to tell you that if you are really go through this slide, read carefully and start with a small scanner. It is not necessary that you should have a big scanner. You have a small, if you have a very small scanner, and you start your working, and then you convert it in different format, you preserve it in CD-ROM, and you set up your idea, and then you upload it and you provide service. So, you will be able to, you will really realize that how much you have achieved through this presentation, and there will be other presentation for idea. So, today and tomorrow whatever presentation we are going to give you, I hope you will be able to set up your idea, and you can also digitize your content, and you can preserve your content nicely long term, and also you can provide access to the users. Now, copyright is very important issue. I am not expert in copyright field, but whatever I know, I want to just share you that copyright in digitization, copyright material published prior to 1922 may be digitized without the need to the obtain of the author permission. If an item is still under under copyright, it may be digitized for the purpose of education and research or in-house use only. Even if a work is copyrighted, under certain condition, libraries have the right to create digital copies on work published and must not make for commercial purpose. So, this is the one reference that I have given. So, here you will get all the things about copyright. A transfer of copyright is received from research scholar, like so. Suppose you are working in a library, you set up a a format that whenever the user will submit the thesis, the user the scholar will give a copyright permission to the institutions or the library. So, they can reuse it, they can upload their institution repository, and they can also provide service to others. So, this is the copyright they can given to the library or institutions. So, it will be easy and useful for the library to provide service, copyrighted service to the others. So, I want to share one some slide, some website. This is a one book big project is going on. What are the publisher who there are many publishers in the world. So, which are the publisher are giving the information that they can provide they can create their idea, and they can also archive the content, publisher content into their digital repository. So, this is the slide you can write down Sherpa Romeo site, where you can get the publisher policy. So far still today, which are the publisher are providing rights to which form. There are many from preprint, postprint, publisher from, actual from, original from. So, which form you can upload in your idea for your archive purpose. So, this is the one side. Publisher copyright policy, academic management. Some publisher are not given, many publisher are given. The LCBR, this is Emerald. So, all the publisher they have given the rights to the library, so that they can archive, at least they can archive. So, they can archive the publisher content, publisher content in their idea. Author have a wide range of copyright in most contexts, provide copies to the colleague 100%, incorporate into other works 90%, post to personal department website 85%, post to repository 75%, use in course pack 95%. So, this is the thing that you can do it, and this is the reference that I have given. You can go through it, so that you will be getting all the information about this. Now, the last slide very interesting is the digital threat. So, after doing all these things, spending lot of time, money, energy. So, if you not do like this thing, we are not aware about the digital threat. It will be very difficult for us, because there are many threats like natural disaster, external attack, internal attack, economic failure. So, these are the various type of threat that you can face. So, if you face, so what will happen? Media failure, hard disk failure, suppose CD-ROM is not working, hardware means PC is not working, software is failure, software is not working, communication error, failure of network service, media and hardware obsolete, software obsolete. So, these are the various threats that you will be facing. So, what are the things that you have to do, so that you can cope up all these threat, digital threat, so that your copies, your digitized content will remain same, and it will be easily accessible by the user. Thank you very much. So, with this I am closing my presentation today, but one thing I am just telling you that you please go through this slide, and I just request all of you, you just start doing this type of digitization process, and this is the future of the library. Library science is in danger because nowadays journals, no library, big libraries are not subscribing any print journal so far, because onwards the big libraries are not subscribing print journal, it gone away, it is a electronic form. And for books, already the most of the library are purchasing book in electronic form. Okay. So, journal print version gone, books are gradually converting to electronic form. So, what are the resources will be available in the library? So, librarian must be aware about computer knowledge. They must know the setup of institution digital repository. They must know digitization of the digital content of the rare book, library contents. They must know how to convert the digital content to a how to preserve the digitized content to various form and provide access. So, the future of the library is that on digital. So, library will be there, but librarian job will be increased, but only thing that you have to update yourself, you have to know, you have to more knowledgeable about the computer. So, if you are not, do not worry, if you are not known, now you start doing, you learn, you attend the workshop, you access the YouTube channel, you can see lot of things are happening, you can visit the big libraries where the things are going on, you can go spend 2-3 days with them, so that you can acquire knowledge and start doing the work, so that one day you will be able to a master to provide information to others, you can help your others colleague. So, dear friend, I just request you, this is the time to convert yourself, so that you will be able to do all the things, all the works what the present situation is required, because you have to adapt yourself with the present requirement. So, you have to convert yourself. So, with this I thank all of you for patience hearing of this presentation. So, after that I will be presenting you in the live demonstration how we are digitizing, what the scanner is doing, how to operate it, how to convert it, how to preserve it, how to upload it, and how to provide access to the users. So, with this, thank you very much.